It's that time of year again, you guys, counting the days left till New Year's so that we may finally fold another leaf. And today we'll be looking at something else that you can fold, and that is foldable smartphones. Cause they serve both as a way to get some more screen while maintaining a small form when carrying, or maybe it could also just be the aesthetics of it that you like. Whatever the reason it may be, let's check out the foldable smartphones you can currently buy in the Philippines. Kicking it off with Motorola's Moto Razer 5G, which has been around for a while since the model available here in the Philippines is still the 2020 model, whilst the new 2022 model has yet to make its debut here. But nonetheless, you get a 6.2-inch foldable HD Plus OLED display inside, while on the outer side we get a 2.7-inch OLED display. The design leaves much to be said, since it does look quite premium but doesn't look as slick as recently released foldables. But it is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass 5 for some extra durability. Underneath, this is where it can show some age as it's powered by the Snapdragon 765 5G chipset and runs on Android 10. Other than that, it does get 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage on board. It also has a 48MP rear camera on the back and a 20MP front camera. Like its name applies, it has 5G connectivity and dual SIM slots, a fingerprint scanner, and USB-C. The thing is, its battery is what I would say, quite underwhelming, as it only packs a 2510mAh battery with only 15 watts fast charging. That's quite a bummer knowing that the Moto Razer 5G does cost 72,990 pesos. But if you're willing to wait, we could be in for its updated 2022 model that sees some significant upgrades. The next foldable is arguably the one that started it all, and that is the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. With its fourth iteration, we now get a 6.2-inch AMOLED display in its outer cover, while inside is a 7.6-inch AMOLED display. Both displays feature a 120Hz refresh rate and are protected by Corning Gorilla Glass Victus Plus for better durability, while the inner display is rated for HDR10+. It also features the flagship Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chipset, while also having 12GB of RAM on board and up to 1TB of storage. For its main cameras, we get a triple setup at the back, behind the outer display that features a 50MP main, 10MP telephoto, and 12MP ultra-wide. At the inner display, we get a 4MP under-display camera, and at the outside display we see a 10MP shooter. Other features include dual SIM slots, 5G connections, Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.2, a fingerprint scanner, IPX8 water resistance, and stereo speakers tuned by AKG. The battery itself is decent at 4,400mAh, but its charging leaves us quite perplexed because although it's only capable of 25 watts fast charging, it can also wirelessly charge at 15 watts and has support for 4.5 watts reverse wireless charging, so there's that. Not to mention, being a Galaxy device, you do get support for the S Pen, and there's also a pretty neat magnetic case for it and the phone. You also get One UI 4 based on Android 12, but the cherry on top is Samsung DeX, which makes it practically a mobile workstation. The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4 is priced at 98,990 for the 256GB model, 105,990 pesos for the 512GB model, and the 1TB Samsung.com exclusive model is priced at a whopping 119,990 pesos. But wait, there's more. Because its predecessor, the Galaxy Z Fold 3, is still on sale at a lower price now for just 72,990 pesos for the 256GB model, and that's over 20,000 pesos in savings. I mean, the main difference would be the processor and cameras, so I'd say for a good price, it may be worth it to just get the Z Fold 3. Then there's also the Huawei Mate Xs 2, which is pitted against Samsung's Z Fold 4. So how is it any different? Well, starting off with its processor, the Mate Xs 2 is powered by the older flagship Snapdragon 888 chipset and Adreno 660 GPU, while running on EMUI 12. Now with the displays, that's where we start to see some difference, since the Huawei Mate Xs 2 folds the opposite way with the main display being exposed outside, whilst the Galaxy Z Fold 4 mentioned earlier rather folds inward and has the main display encased inside while the secondary display out. Both are pretty impressive in their own right, and it really just matters on what you prefer. When folded, we see a slightly larger 6.5-inch OLED display with also a 120Hz refresh rate. We also see a larger 7.8-inch OLED display when fully unfolded into a tablet, with the same 120Hz refresh rate, although no Corning Gorilla Glass Victus here. The cameras also see a slight difference as now the main triple camera setup features a 50 megapixel main lens, an 8 megapixel telephoto, and a 13 megapixel ultra wide. There's also now a singular 10.7 megapixel front camera which doubles as your selfie camera when folded or unfolded. It also does feature similar connectivity like Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, dual SIM slots, USB-C, and a fingerprint scanner. But the biggest difference is that the Mate Xs2 is only capable of 4G connectivity. It's also worth mentioning that the Mate Xs2 is noticeably slimmer when unfolded, as it measures 5.4mm thick, while the Z Fold 4 is 6.3mm. But when folded, that's where you'll see a big difference, as it's only 11.1mm thick, while the Z Fold 4 is up to 15.8mm thick. Despite being so thin, it manages to pack a 4600mAh battery while also having faster charging speeds at 66 watts, and it still has support for reverse charging. The Huawei Mate Xs2 is priced just shy of 100k at just 99,999 pesos for the 8GB plus 512GB model. If you wanna show your support towards Yuga Tech, be sure to leave this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to follow along on our future uploads. Now, the last two devices we talked about were foldables in the sense you get a phone and a tablet when opened up. But what if you want something smaller on which it's simply a phone that folds into a smaller phone? That's where the next two come in. Being one of the most prolific and popular foldables out there right now is the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. When folded up, we see the cover display boasts a pretty cute 1.9-inch AMOLED and is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. Its inner display is a tall 6.7-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED panel with a 120Hz refresh rate. Like its bigger brother, the Z Fold 4, the Z Flip 4 also packs in the same Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chipset while running the same One UI 4.1. But this time, we only see 8GB of RAM and only up to 512GB of storage built in. The rear camera on the outside sees both a 12MP main and a 12MP ultra wide, while the inner selfie camera sees a 10MP wide shooter. It also has the same dual nano SIM slots, 5G connectivity, Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.2, USB-C port, fingerprint scanner, and IPX8 resistance. The battery itself has seen a bump up from the previous generation to now a 3700mAh battery with 25 watts fast charging, 15 watts wireless charging, and 4.5 watts reverse wireless charging. The Galaxy Z Flip 4 is priced at 58,990 pesos for the base 128GB model, 62,990 pesos for the 256GB model, and the online exclusive 512GB model at 69,990 pesos. Likewise, the last generation Z Flip 3 is also still on sale by Samsung at a lower price of 48,990 pesos for the 128GB model and 52,990 pesos for the 256GB version. The biggest difference among them is that the Z Flip 4 does come now in a pretty nice blue colorway, has the latest chipset, and a larger battery. But if saving practically 10,000 pesos is worth it for you to go with the older Z Flip 3, then that's up to your discretion. Last on the list is also Huawei's answer to Samsung's Flip series with the Huawei P50 Pocket. Currently, the P50 Pocket is offered with the Snapdragon 888 chipset like the Mate Xs2, and likewise only features 4G LTE speeds and not 5G. While running on EMUI 12 also, it does have a leg up over the Flip since it can be spec'd up to 12GB of RAM, while also having up to 512GB of storage. The outer cover display itself is quite smaller than the Z Flip 4 with a 1.04-inch OLED display that's in the shape of a circle, and it matches its camera cutout. The inner main screen however features a larger 6.9-inch Full HD Plus OLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate and 300Hz touch sampling rate. The cameras on paper seem to also be better than the Flips since it has a triple main setup with a 40MP primary lens, 13MP ultra wide, and a 32MP ultra spectrum camera. Inside, we do see a roughly similar 10.7MP front camera. It does have the bog standard connectivity features like dual SIM, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, USB-C, a fingerprint scanner, but no IPX8 water resistance here. It also does have a leg up in battery life since it packs in a larger 4000mAh battery with 40 watts fast charging and 5 watts reverse wireless charging capabilities. The Huawei P50 Pocket is priced at 69,999 pesos for the 8GB plus 256GB model, while the premium edition with 12GB of RAM and 512GB of storage is priced at 86,999 pesos. We hope this list has helped you in choosing your next foldable smartphone if you do plan on getting one. Be sure to show your support by leaving a like and subscribe to our channel for more. We're also on yugatech.com, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and even Twitter if you'd like to catch up on the latest tech news and reviews in the Philippines. This has been VJ of Yugatech. Hope you have a great week ahead. See ya.